All right, so the growth mindset. What do you understand when I say growth mindset? So what you can do, what I want to do is to make this very interactive. So yes, I will be doing a lot of the talking right now, but I do want you to chat and communicate and give me your, basically raise your hand on this app, just typing a message or responding, okay? So we can connect. So what do you understand by the word growth? Today is all about preparing you as a woman, as an African woman, to be ready for the challenges in your life and in your business or your career in 2019. So let me ask you the question. What does it mean to have a growth mindset? Have you heard of that before? Growth mindset, what does it mean? It's almost kind of like taking some flower seeds, a plant, and you dig a hole in the soil and then you bury the seeds and then you need to pour water for the seed to grow into a beautiful plant and then a tree. So without watering it, that process of growth is stifled. It doesn't happen. So growth, the first thing I want you to make a note of in your notebook is this. Growth is not automatic. Growth is not automatic. Success is not automatic. Aging, on the other hand, is automatic. I get old every second. You can see the clock behind me, it's ticking. Aging, I'm getting old every second. The time spent, I'm getting old, I can't take back. But growth is very deliberate and it's very intentional. So I want you to write down growth is not automatic. Write that down and put a box around it. Second thing, growth is intentional. What does intentional mean? It's like you basically walk into a coffee shop and you fall in the queue, you stand behind the person in front of you, you're in your line waiting to order coffee, but you get to the counter and you tell the person on the other side, hey, what do you think I should order? Because I have no clue. That's pretty much what life is without a growth plan, without goals. You walk into a coffee shop without even knowing what kind of coffee you want to have. And you stand there in line and you ask the other person who is supposed to serve you coffee, hey, what am I going to have? What kind of a result do you think you will receive? If you don't know what you want in life, how can you achieve them? So when I want you to think about growth, I also want you to think about goals, growth goals. So the concept of growth cannot move without goals. So you need growth and you need goals. So I'm first going to take you through a little bit on the growth mindset. The next couple of minutes with me, we are going to focus on how to develop our brain, our mind, our thinking to have growth thoughts, growth mindset, a growth personality. All right. So the number one for a growth mindset is to make personal development your number one priority. What is it? The number one rule for a growth mindset is to make personal development your number one priority. I want you to write that down because, like I said, personal development and growth is not automatic. It's very intentional. So I need it to be in your annual calendar, your annual business plan, right on top. That's the first thing you're going to put down. Number one rule in my year in 2019 is to make sure that personal development and my personal growth is number one priority. Can you do that? I'm challenging you. Right. So once we write that down, a very interesting quote comes to my mind, and that is by one James Allen. And what he says is, people are willing to improve their circumstances, but they're not willing to improve themselves. I want you to think about that. We're so quick to improve our circumstances. If we know there's a fire burning in the house, we're quick to get the water and put the fire out. But we don't really pay attention to the root cause of it all. We don't really pay attention to the role we play to either directly or indirectly cause the fire. But a growth mindset, a successful person, somebody who is excellent, will always think about how can I avoid a fire in my life? Or if I have a fire in my life, how can I learn from it without getting burned? Do you understand? Big difference. So when you think about what I'm telling you very carefully, very consciously, it's really about the distance of your thoughts between this year and this year over here. And this is approximately what, 12 inches long? I don't know the diameter of my face. The distance from here to here is approximately 6 to 12 inches long. And this is the distance of my action. It all begins with my thought. So today is such a vital, vital session for you. I'm so excited. So let's get deep into it. The second quote that I love is by one Lao Tzu. And he says, knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. Mastering others is strength, but mastering yourself is true power. And right now, I just want you to embrace yourself and know that you are the number one tool and resource that I need and you need in your life to take you from where you are now to the next level. It is you. It's no one else. It takes you as an individual to grow yourself. We need you. So, moving on. When it comes to the growth mindset, when it comes to life, when it comes to reviewing your performance, taking a look back at 2018, taking a look back at your relationships, maybe at work or maybe in your personal life, something very important to remember. I'm just going to make a quick request to mute. Sally, can you please mute your mic? Yeah. Sally, can I please request you to mute your mic? I'm sorry, ladies. There's a little bit of interruption.
So which one do you want to use? So you don't want to, you're not using your son.
So, when it comes to life, a very important thing I want you to remember is the perception gap. The perception gap is basically how you perceive yourself, and how others perceive you. There's always this gap. And a lot of the times we walk around life, we live our life, we carry out our work in our life as mothers, as sisters, as wives, without really paying attention to this gap. But what if I tell you that it's this very perception gap that gets us into trouble? There's always this distance between how we see ourselves and how the world sees us, how we see ourselves and how our husband sees us, or how our friends see us, or how our colleagues in our workplace see us. There's always this distance. We might think that we are good, we might think we are confident, we might think we know everything. Sometimes we might think we're not good enough, but somebody else comes along and recognizes that you are so good, that you are way better than you think yourself. So that's to do with limiting beliefs, that's to do with low self-esteem, and that's something we need to also address when it comes to having a growth mindset. Because like I said, growth mindset cannot move without you moving. Only if you move can your growth move. So it needs to happen hand in hand. So coming back to the perception gap, the perception gap is another point I want you to frame in your notepad. I want you to take that down. Perception gap. I'm going to write that here. So perception gap is really about how you see yourself and how the world sees you. Now here's the thing. You see yourself in a particular way, but what you're projecting, what you communicate, the results you show people, the language you use, the tone of your voice when you talk about something. That is what makes the perception gap either wider or narrower. If you are aligned with how you act and what you say, guess what? The perception gap is going to be smaller. It's going to be narrower. But the minute what you say and what you do are very different, guess what? The perception gap is that much bigger. So that is something you need to watch out for. I tell this particularly to women even in corporate who work for other people, or even if you're an entrepreneur and you have people working for you, and you might think you're the best boss in the world, but then you keep losing your staff. You have loyalty issues with your staff, and then you wonder, well, I think I'm a good boss. I think I'm a good leader. I think I know how to have a team and manage a team. But no, you're losing people. You're failing in your relationships because of this perception gap. But I want you to get excited right about now, because everything we're working on today in today's session is all about giving you the strength, empowering you with the attitude and the character to go in there with a positive mindset, with a positive identity, so that you can convert those negative relationships into positive, and you can reduce the perception gap. Now, here's something I want to tell you, ladies. You will never completely get rid of this perception gap. It will always be there, whatever job you do, in whatever capacity you do. The nature of the gap will always change. It will always evolve in your life as you get older and older. With every new job you take on, with every year your business grows, the perception gap will grow with it, but it does never disappear. It will never disappear. But it's a good thing, because you know why? The perception gap is your mental awareness of who you are and what you're projecting. And as human beings, that is so important. You need to be aligned. So perception gap is your friend. But it is your responsibility to do everything you can to reduce the distance between. And the only way to reduce the distance is if you take that perception gap and place it over your own head and reduce the distance between how you see yourself. So right here, let's talk about self-esteem. Ladies, it's 2019, and I'm asking you, how do you see yourself in 2019? You come in for this session because you have hope. But my first question to you is, to each of you, is this: do you believe that you have the capacity and the potential to be great in 2019? Do you believe that you can achieve your dreams in 2019? Do you believe you can make it? I want you to answer these questions. They say the biggest crisis in the world is the distance between knowing and doing. So at the end of our session, I have no doubt in my mind that I would have inspired you and empowered you to see yourself in a more powerful way so that you can achieve more powerful results. But moving along, there are two types of mindsets that I want to talk to you about. This is important. So in this world, there are two types of people. There is one type that has the mindset called the growth mindset. Now, the growth mindset person uses a very positive vocabulary in their life. Very positive. When problems happen, they pick themselves up. They're not born this way. Nobody's born this way. I don't get it 100% every time. No, I don't. We fail now and then. But the growth mindset, if the growth mindset kicks in, every time we fail, instead of fear, we have faith. Every time we fail, instead of scolding ourselves, we see it as a lesson. Every time we fail, we take the setback and we look at it as a step up. So that is what growth mindset really means. So I want to compare with you these two types of people. One is the growth mindset person, and the other is a fixed mindset person. So let's talk about this more. I want you to write this down. The first mindset, like I said, is the growth mindset. Now, that is the kind of mindset you want. That is the kind of mindset you need. The growth mindset says failure is an opportunity to grow. That's the growth mindset. But you know what a fixed mindset says? Who is a fixed mindset kind of girl or a guy? What does a fixed mindset do? Oh, I have failed. I'm a failure. I've had a divorce. My society doesn't like me. I've been abandoned. I've been through too many problems. I don't know if I can make it. I don't have education. I don't have resources. So that is all to do with fixed mindset. Are you getting this? So that is the difference I'm talking about. So let's compare these two. So a growth mindset says failure is an opportunity to grow. Wow. And a fixed mindset, you know what a fixed mindset says? Failure is the limit of my abilities. I can't do more than that. That's a fixed mindset. Can you see the two? Can you see how different this is? Yes, you can. Yes, you're getting this? All right. Another one. The growth mindset person says, I can learn and do anything I want. That is the growth mindset. Well, the fixed mindset person would say, I don't know about that. I'm either good at it or I'm not. It's not flexible. The fixed mindset is scared to try new things. Works within a limited box. Next one. A growth mindset person would tell themselves, challenges make me grow. A growth mindset person sees a challenge and thinks, yay, it's a new discovery. I'm happy. I want to learn from this. I'm not going to give up because nobody's perfect. So a growth mindset person looks at a challenge and says, hey, something just happened in my life. Yes, I'm hurt. It affected me. My ego is a little wounded. Maybe I lost a relationship, but hey, what's the lesson from this? I'm pretty sure the universe allowed this to happen in my life because I'm meant to learn something. I'm meant to learn and improve something. I'm meant to take something back from this. I'm meant to discover something about myself that I didn't even see, that other people see in me. And you know what we call it? We call it the blind spot. We walk around life with this perception gap because we don't know our own blind spots. And there are weaknesses in ourselves that we don't even know of. But we walk there in life, in the marketplace, in our career, in our families, and other people see it. I tell people around the world, the relationships you have, they're a good reflection of your values, of your image, of how you see yourself and what you project. So again, moving on. The fixed mindset person would say, hey, I don't really like challenges. That's not really my comfort zone. I've never done this before. The risk feels a little too great. Hence, I think the risk is too big, so I don't want to try. Now, that is a fixed mindset. Can you see the difference? Can you see how massively different this all is? Yes? So moving on. Another one. The growth mindset person would say, I like to try new things because I don't know it all. Unless I try, how will I know how far I can go? You know, this reminds me of an analogy. I'm trying to look for a rubber band. I want you to imagine this strand of hair. Think it's a bracelet. Think it's a bracelet, right? Example, like you take a bracelet and say the bracelet is flexible. It's a flexible elastic wire. Do you know what an elastic wire is? So every time you think of challenges, I want you to think of the elastic wire, like that elastic wire you can stretch. So every time you have a challenge, the challenge is going to be like that rubber band. We call it a rubber band. Do you know what it is? You stretch the rubber band as much as you can. And I tell you, once you stretch it as much as you can and you release it, the band would have expanded with elasticity. It will never go back to the original size. Because through the stretching, what has happened is you have grown the rubber band and stretched the rubber band to get bigger. So that is life. That is what a challenge does to you. I think the minute as women The minute as mothers, the minute as female entrepreneurs, the minute as students, we actually realize that a challenge is there to help us grow. A challenge is there to refine us, to make us better. The minute we see a challenge like the rubber band I told you, then end of the day, whichever way the challenge stretches you, you're still going to stretch. You are still going to be like, hey, I want this to happen. This is a good thing. Because you know why? At the end of it, once I let go, once the challenge is over, I would have become a new person, a more bigger person, somebody with more knowledge about that problem, somebody with new strategies how to handle it. Can you see where this is going? So I want you to see yourself as that rubber band. Very important. So that is with regards to the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. Now, let's drill it down to personality. I'm a perfectionist myself. I'm a mother. I'm a wife. I'm a business entrepreneur. I'm a global speaker. I wear multiple hats. And generally, as women, we all do. Would you agree? As women in this world, we have a divine, unique ability and responsibility to the world to be able to handle so many different things at the same time. And it's a beautiful thing, I tell you. But the only way you can really tap into that divine power is if you have this growth mindset, the rubber band. So let's look at this. A fixed mindset seeks perfection. I seek perfection, but every day I tell myself, Senela, nobody's perfect. Name one person, one human being perfect in this world. You will not find one because nobody is. No solution is perfect. No business is perfect. No customer is perfect. No product is perfect. There's absolutely nothing perfect in this world. Only God is perfect. What we can do is to perform and tap into full potential. So a growth mindset person doesn't focus so much on perfection. They focus on quality. A growth mindset person doesn't focus on only performance. They look at potential. Can you see the difference? So I want you to write down the words quality and potential. Quality and potential. So in the future, from this day on, I want you to always remember, whenever you think about perfection, I want you to think, I don't have to be perfect as a woman. I don't have to be perfect as a wife. I don't have to be perfect as a boss, as a female entrepreneur. I don't have to have the answers 100% of the time. I don't have to be a perfect mother. I just need to focus on potential. I try every day. Potential is a rubber band. Potential is a rubber band. I just try every day. That's all you need to do. You need to show up. And they say if you show up, the problem gets solved 80% of the time because you are showing up. And that's a massive leadership quality. I want to encourage you. So it's all about showing up and it's all about potential. Next one. I want to do a little self-assessment with you. And in this self-assessment, I want to ask you some questions for you to ask yourself to help you to develop a growth mindset. Question number 1. These are very important, ladies. I'm going to stop here for a moment to encourage you to grab a pen and a notepad and write these questions down, because these questions are there to help you develop a growth mindset. So can everybody raise their hand or put a yes on the chat board if you have a notepad and you're able to write this down? This is very important. I'm going to give you 20 seconds to do that. All right, Luna. Okay, Luna has raised her hand. Anyone else? Anybody else have a notepad with you? So important. All right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you the 5 questions to help you, Luna, to discover your growth mindset and to grow your growth mindset. Okay, you do have a notepad on your phone. Very good, Catherine. Well done. Question number 1, are you ready? Can somebody give me a drum roll? Can somebody give me a drum roll? I'm going to give you the answers. I'm going to give you a very, very good set of questions to help you develop your growth mind. Okay. Number 1, from today's experience. What did I learn from today's experience? That's the first question that I want you to ask yourself. What did I learn from today's experience? So what that means is this. You go through a challenge in life. After our webinar, after this session together, you go back and then you have a fight, a problem with somebody. You have a confrontation, a misunderstanding. And what's going to happen? You're going to give up. You're going to feel, oh, why does this always happen to me? I have no encouragement in my life. But instead of thinking negative, I want you to, after today, replace that negative thinking with this question. What did I learn from today's experience? What did I learn from today's challenge? What did I learn from today's argument? What did I learn from today's misunderstanding? What is there for me to learn from this? That is the growth mindset. Question number 2. What steps did I take to make me successful today? What steps did I take to make me successful today? Like I said, you don't grow unless you move, and you don't move unless you grow. So your growth plan needs you. All in all, you are the biggest resource. So you really need to show up, and you need to ask yourself this question consciously, intentionally. What steps did I take today to make it successful for me? What steps did I take today to make my business environment and the environment of my team working for me more successful? What steps did I take today to make sure the business plan that I'm thinking of is more successful? What steps did I take today to make sure that when I talk to people, I appear more confident? What steps did I take today? The minute you ask yourself that question, your growth mindset is kicking in and it's putting you to task. You have an action point because you have a direct responsibility of your life. You are the author of your life. You are the queen of your life. When success comes by, you get to enjoy it. Isn't that exciting? So the next question for you, question number 3. What are the different strategies I could have used? Or you ask yourself, what are some other ways I could have approached the problem? So these kind of questions are very expansive. These are the kind of questions you need to ask yourself every time a challenge comes your way and you start moving around your life like a rubber band. Do you understand? Is that clear? Remember the rubber band? So these are the questions you need to ask yourself when you're in the rubber band situation. Question number 4. How did I keep things going when things got tough? How did I keep things going when things got tough? I want you to ask yourself that question. Now, some of these questions, I bet you're thinking, well, Senela, I don't really know. I've never really asked myself these questions because to begin with, frankly, I didn't really think they were even needed. I didn't even think these were important. Well, if you think they're not important, I'm here to tell you right now, these questions are absolutely important. Because when you're in that rubber band situation, as women, our emotions get the better of us, and we don't think, we act. We don't respond, we react. We're too fast to react. But if you want to be a leader, if you want to have a growth mindset, if you want to be successful, if you want that success to be deliberate, conscious, intentional and expected, then you need to be on top of your game. So you need to make sure that you know where you're going, that you have alignment with what you say, what you do, that your perception gap is under control, because your perception gap is not outside yourself, but it's very much inside of you, because you are mindful, you are aware, and you know yourself, because personal growth is your #1 priority in 2019. Remember? So this is everything we discussed so far. All right, question number 5, and this is the final question. What can I learn from life or someone else today? What can I learn from life or someone else today? Just ask yourself that question. These are some very fundamental questions I ask clients whom I coach, who I do leadership coaching for. These are women I coach around the world who are executive managers, and I ask them the same questions. Have you paid attention to the people who you work for, or have you paid attention to the people who work for you? Are you paying attention? Are you mindful? You can learn from everybody. Have you used today productively to learn from somebody today? You know, that's one of the defining traits of a winner. A winner would never say, I know it all. I have it all. I don't need anyone. I don't need a team. No, it takes a village to make you successful. It takes a village to make somebody successful. It takes a support network. But if we are effective, if we are smart, if we're strategic, we can have control of how we manage that support system. We can never control life and the results 100%, but we can control how we perceive and manage the results that happen to us. Do you understand the difference? So there's a very big difference. So that is the growth attitude. That is a winner. All right. So I want you to take down some self-talk. I'm going to quickly do some self-talk exercises with you. Yes, please rapidly repeat the questions. Sally wants me to repeat the questions. How many of you want me to repeat the questions? All right, I'm going to quickly do this and then I'm going to get into the self-talk. Question number 1, what did I learn from today's experience? Question number 2, what steps did I take to make me successful today? Question number 3, what are different strategies I could have used, or what are some other ways I could have approached the problem? And question number 4, how did I keep things going when things got tough? And question number 5, what can I learn from life or someone else today? These are the 5 growth mindset self-assessment questions. Ask yourself this. Moving on, we are going to enter self-talk. All right. So for every negative thought that you would have in your life, I have with me here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I prepared for you. 5 negative self-talk questions or comments. I'm going to give you 5 positive statements to replace them. So every time your mind tells you, oh, you're not good enough, you can't achieve this, oh, you're doing it again, I can't believe you made this mistake, the negative self-talk, I want to replace it with what I'm going to give you now. Are you ready? All right. Every time you tell yourself, I'm not good at this, every time you tell yourself, I'm not good at this, I want you to repeat it by saying, what am I missing? How could I do it better next time? Can you see the difference? Instead of focusing on the problem, you're focusing on the solution. Instead of being fixed, you're focusing on growth. You're focusing on potential. Instead of scolding yourself for not being perfect, you're embracing and recognizing and discovering your potential. Can you see how very different this is? So self-talk is so important. So the next one. The next time you tell yourself, oh, I give up. I give up. I can't do this. So the next time you think like that, I want you to replace it with this. I want you to replace it by saying, it's okay. All is well. I'll do it differently next time. That's it. Next one. This is too hard. If you think this is too hard, guess what? That's what life is going to give you. Life is going to give you only hard. If you look at something and think it's easy, life is going to give it easy. So it's all how you think. So if you say this is too hard and that is negative, I want you to replace that with the positive. This may take some time. That's okay. Abraham Lincoln, the president, one of the former presidents of the great United States, I believe he tried for presidency and failed 27 times, if I'm not mistaken. But it was the next time he attempted for presidency, he actually got it. He actually won it. So you don't give up because you've tried 5 times. You don't give up because you've tried 10 times. You keep going until you've achieved what you have set out to achieve. But it's so important that you're clear about what you want to achieve. Because if you're not clear about what you want to achieve, guess what? Life is not clear about what you want to achieve. And what life is going to give you is not going to be what you want to achieve. So it starts with you having clarity about what you want to achieve. And don't worry, I'm going to close with that. I'm going to finish with some goal setting ideas for you. So the next one is, if you tell yourself, plan A didn't work, well, I'm a failure. If that is your negative self-talk, I want to replace that with saying, there's always a plan B. Plan A didn't work, well, plan B will. There's always a plan B. And you move on. You move on and life will surprise you. The minute you start thinking this way, guess what? Life is going to surprise you. The next one. If you see somebody who has a skill that you don't have, and you cross your hands and you think, yeah, I wish I have that. I don't have that. I don't know how to do it. No, instead of thinking that way, you got to tell yourself, well, I'll ask that person to teach me. Maybe I can do it better next time. There is no skill or language on earth that you cannot achieve or learn. There's nothing you cannot learn. There's nothing you cannot do. And that is the fundamental belief of the growth mindset. Nothing is impossible. What happens to you in life is how you condition it to be. Sometimes we as women can walk around life with such limiting beliefs, with such low self-esteem, and we tell ourselves all the negative garbage there is in the world. We tell ourselves we're not good enough. We tell ourselves we can't perform. We tell ourselves people are better than us. Run your own race. Stop comparing and competing with the women around you, because around the world as women, we keep competing with each other. The competition is not amongst ourselves as women. The competition is out there in the marketplace. The competition is out there in the world. We just need to be better than we were yesterday. We need to just compete with ourselves, not each other. We need to stand together as sisters. We need to have sisterhood. We need to be there for each other. We need community, because that energy, the village, is what makes a woman successful. We can't do it alone. So my advice is, have a growth mindset and run your own race. Always worry about being better than you were yesterday. Don't worry about being better than her, being better than him. No, 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 no. After today, I just challenge you to focus on being better than you were yesterday. Ask yourself, how can I be better than I was yesterday? And all it takes are a few baby steps, simple little steps. That's all we do. A growth mindset is never impatient, but a growth mindset is very intentional. You need to have intention. Moving on very quickly before we come into a close, I'm going to move this into the Q&A session, because I know that you all are very excited to ask some questions, and I'm so excited to switch on the cameras and have the question time, right? Are you excited for that? So before I get into that section, I'm going to quickly give you some quick tips. My quick power tips on goal setting, on setting your intentional goals to achieve 2019 successfully with a growth mindset. Are you ready? I want to see some show of hands. I said, are you ready, ladies? Yes? Okay, so the first thing to do, Sally is ready. Okay, Catherine is ready. All right, so the first thing you need to do to set your goals is have a goal. Remember the example, don't walk into a coffee shop not knowing what coffee to order. The goal needs to come from you, not outside of you, from inside of you. So I'm asking you right now, what is your goal in 2019? Number 2, write the goal down. Don't just keep it in your mind. I want you to write it down on paper. According to research, there's so much of power in the pen. Lot of power in the pen. Before I came for this session, I designed today's program for you. Not in my mind. It's easier for me to do it here, but I took the time to write it down because I know that when I start writing things down, I'm a growth person. Why? Because it's very intentional, and as I write it down, I'm getting more clarity, more intelligence, more structure, more memory around what I want to say, more quality. Do you get where I'm going with this? So write your goals down. That's step number 2. Step number 1, have goals. Step number 2, write the goals. Step number 3, classify the goals. Classify the goals. Now, what do I mean by classify the goals? I want you to separate the goals. I want you to have a goal for relationships in 2019. I want to have a closer relationship with my daughter. That is a relationship goal. That is not a business goal, is it? No, it's not. It's a relationship goal. So I want you to have relationship goals separately. Another goal I want you to have is your financial goal. I want to increase my ROI by 80% in 2019. I want to increase my customers by 10 new people every month. Every month I want 10 new people using my product. Is that your goal? Fine. Then another one, I want to increase my market share by 5% by October. That could be another one. So I want you to classify the goals. So relationship goal, business goal, marketing goal, you can have a recruitment goal, you could have a confidence goal, you can have a networking skills goal. So under confidence, it would be something like by the end of May, I want to have signed up for 3 different networking events where I can meet new people and I can talk to them. And by the end of May, I want to have upgraded my wardrobe so that the clothes I wear will bring me more confidence and more presence as a female leader. By May or by July, I want to improve how I present myself. I want to not get nervous anymore. I want to be able to do wonderful presentations, believing in myself. So that's not a business goal. That's clearly a personality and confidence building goal. Would you agree? So when it comes to goals, write them down, have a goal, write it down, and classify them. You need to put them into different buckets. All right, ladies, and with that, I am going to conclude and open this to the Q&A.